Right, welcome back to the channel. I'm standing here in the middle of a test ride of a Triumph Bonneville T120. This isn't a press bike, or this wasn't a ride just to make a video. This was a bike that I saw in Motorcycles for All yesterday. Liked it so much, I rang up and paid for a test ride. It's 25 quid to go on a test ride. And I wanted to get first refusal on this bike. Now, there's a lot of things which attracted me to the T120. It is the kind of superlative modern retro. It's like up there, you've got Royal Enfield, you've got BSA, and then you've got Triumph. It's got the 1200cc engine. I know people go back and forth on whether the 900 or the 1200 is better. But I saw this bike. It's in this lovely red with a gold pinstripe going down the middle, two-tone tank. It's on a 71 plate, which means that it's either a 2021 registered bike after September or before March 2022. It's got 795 miles on it, so it's hardly been ridden. It hasn't had its first service, but Motorcycles for All said they would throw in the service for me. But that wasn't the only thing which attracted me to this T120. The fact is, it is festooned with Triumph optional extras. Now, I can't even really cover everything. I'll probably miss something. I'm not really a Triumph expert at the best of times, but it had heated grips, it's got cruise control, it's got a Triumph genuine windscreen, it's got these lovely bar end mirrors, which I found give excellent visibility. It's got the machined brake caliper reservoir, brake lever reservoir. At the front here, you've got these optional extra long stalk LED indicators. That's only the front of the bike. Oh, wait a minute. You've also got this machined handlebar grip, which again is like a 70 quid extra. Down here, you've got genuine Triumph dresser bar kit. And then if I come round to the front of the bike, am I still in shot? Yeah. You've got these little covers here on the crankcase. There's also the crash protection on both sides, so someone's optioned that there and there. You've got Triumph crash protection on the front fork at the bottom, look in the middle of the brake disc. And then if you come up again, you've got the free bar badge, which Two Wheeled Willie tells me is an optional extra. Knee guards, genuine Triumph scratch pad there. Coming to the back of the bike, these wonderful leather Triumph panniers, which seem to be able to hold like Mary Poppins' handbag. They're just full of volume. It's crazy. You've got the racks there as well to support them so they stay out from the bike. You've got a pillion, not a backrest as such, but you've got a rear rack with a genuine Triumph top box, which has a matching key to the ignition. So I saw all this and I thought, my God, if you ever wanted a T120, this would be the one to have, wouldn't it? Because it's low mileage. Okay, it's on a 71 plate, but you can put a private plate on there, and it's got probably, what should we say, 4,500 pounds worth of accessories. These are 335. The rails are probably 200. The top box is probably 250. The rear rack's probably 200. Got the indicators LED there at the back as well to match the front. All of the stuff up here. Oh, underneath you got a centre stand. All of this stuff. And I just thought, my God, that is the bike to buy. So I rang them up last night, booked the test ride for today, paid for it. It's really, really, really not the right time for me to buy a bike because we're moving. As many of you know, I've quit my corporate job, so buying a Himalayan for 1,800 quid is kind of where I'm at the moment. Not spending, and I haven't got to the price yet, not spending 9,000 on this T120. So I'm in a bit of a pickle because it's a lovely, lovely bike. It's the right spec, it's the right age, it's low owners, one owner, it's the right mileage. Unfortunately, it's just not the right time for me, so I've got the right bike at the wrong time. Now, that being said, the other thing is I've got to give up the BSA, which is a little bit of a pain point because I don't want to have two retro bikes that occupy almost the same space. So if I was to get this, I'd have to give up the BSA. And riding the BSA over to do the test ride on this, I was blown away just how much joy I was getting out of that little single cylinder engine going but. Obviously, this bike is, by every metric, a much better bike than the BSA. Like, just look at the way the engine is dressed and everything like that, and the crankcases. They're polished alloy. BSA is some weird powder coat. You know, the BSA is just not as nice bike as this bike, and that's just something we admit, openly admit. The question is whether it's worth, if you were to get, and don't forget I won't get hardly anything for the BSA. Ian Halliwell will probably get more for his BSA than I'll get. So say the BSA is worth 2.6, 2.5. Let's see what they offer me when I go back to the dealership. But I'm going to then have to stump up the rest to make it up to 9 grand for this bike. And I've gone back and forth on it. I've had a bit of a sleepless night, but I don't think that this bike is enough to get to sort of make up that much money at this particular time. That's my kind of gut feeling. I've ridden it for a little bit, kind of got my first thoughts on the T120, and that's my kind of gut feeling about it right now. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this video, we've got Suze's opinion on it, which I'm going to add into the footage. Right, Suze, what is your opinion, without burning yourself on hot exhaust, what is your opinion on Bonneville T120?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
I think I know that this is a bike that you would think is like a, if you could only have one bike. You actually answered it on the live the other day when you had that speed, whatever it was, twin 900. Yeah. In so Portugal. The smaller engine, slightly smaller engine. Obviously, it's more forward and more sporty and stuff. But sitting on the back of that, even when I was unwell, felt amazing. Yeah. The smoothness of the ride and the noise and everything. For me, that's the thing. I love the sound. So I just heard you come in then, and it sounds mint. Like I love that sort of rumbly, like real deep and
big torquey, yeah, big really displacement engine.
I love the colour. I love all the extras. I'm really a fan of this.
Yeah, that's a special badge according to Willie.
It just looks gorgeous. I will say though, when you came in, there's something that the BSA has for me, which I don't know. Like obviously the engine and everything of this is like a more luxury bike, let's say.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
There's something about the BSA that really suits you, and it's got real some character about, I don't know, that I just can't quite describe. Yeah. It's got a real character, hasn't it? It's like an old friend.
Yeah.
But I'm also very supportive about this bike to Sean, given it's not really the right timing for us because we've got all other things going on in our life.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the right time, but if you were going to get one,
this would be the one, wouldn't it? It's
gorgeous, and it matches your helmet. It just looks great. You really suit it. You really suit that classic white look, and on a sort of real premium version of that, I think it'd be really nice for you to have a luxury bike for a change at some point.
Yeah.
Like you've kept things to more, what do they call it? More, not affordable.
Better
value. What do they call it?
The lower end of the market. Yeah, affordable. That's fine.
More affordable bikes. This is obviously great for what it's got on it. It's got all the extras. But yeah, I think at some point it would be time for you to have, be the sort of flashy man on the
Triumph.
Yeah. Yeah. Same as me in a Mustang one day. Wink, wink, hint, hint. But yeah, I love it. Good work, and I hope you really enjoy the ride. Be interesting to know if it's jerky, like lots of people say.
I'm also going to do a little ride along and just talk about the bike and see what my impressions of it are, and whether I'd make the decision to trade the Goldstar for this. Now bear in mind, it's just one of those things that just comes up and you're like, whoa, it's 7 miles away from my house, perfect spec, perfect age, perfect mileage, beautiful bike. But unfortunately all that's right, but the timing is totally wrong for me. Got no job and we're moving house. So it's totally the wrong time to buy a bike. Alright, I'll end that part there and I'll jump on the bike and rejoin, start the video again. Right, you join me. This Range Rover begins to start making progress. You join me out on the road on the T120, and now I've got to make this decision in a test ride as to whether
this bike could potentially replace the BSA. So obviously I've discovered that you've got an obscene amount of torque. Bear in mind that I'm used to a 650 or a 350, so to have a 1200 is a powerful old engine. It means you can be quite lazy with the gears. You got 6-speed in this one, whereas the T100's got a 5-speed, but the ratios are quite nice on the T100, so that doesn't put people off that much. But on this, yeah, you can be in any gear pretty much any of the time, and you'll still have a very flexible motor. It does sort of zip forward when you open the throttle, but not in a high brake horsepower kind of way. It's very much a torque focused engine, so it surges forward rather than sort of snaps forward. Yeah, it's obviously the motor is the big part of this bike, and it makes that sort of rumble as well, that deep rumble that Suze was mentioning earlier in her segment. Now up front, yeah, everything is very beautiful. Two-wheeled Willie was describing this as like a Rolex watch. It's very, very kind of aesthetically pleasing up front. I do like the little triumph in the handlebar clamp, the machined brake caliper reservoir, brake lever reservoir is nice, and then the bar end mirrors, as I said, give it quite a surprising amount of view. I might actually fit these on the BSA because you can see a hell of a lot. Now, Dave Tarby did actually give me bar end mirrors for the BSA, but they're quite small ones, and I was struggling to see in them. I might get some of this style and fit those, because you get quite a nice view like this. I've got the heated grips on. Now they come in 2 settings, off and then low and high, which is not that good, to be honest, because I don't think the high is that hot. It's Range Rover. It kind of like looks like he's really taking his time and just chilling. Hopefully he doesn't come my way. No, he's going all the way around. And the heated grips, yeah, I think I've got more settings on my £5 AliExpress grips than you've got on the Triumph ones, and they're hotter. So there you go, integrated heated grips, not all that. As I speed up here to 55, I'm getting awful wind buffeting, but that's because this screen is fitted to this bike. If I was to buy this bike, I'd just whip that off straight away. I'd probably just sell it. New, that screen is 335 quid. It's a lot of money. So I just get rid of it and put it up for 150 or something, try and sell it on eBay. Other things I've noticed about the bike, while we're talking about the spec, the luggage is exceptional. I like the top box. It's got a single push button to open. It's got a matching key from the ignition to the top box, and also you've got another push button to detach the box from the rear rack. Really, really clever. Same as the leather side panniers. They got frames that keep them off the bike. No rubbing, no mess, no ties. All very neat, all very perfect, and they're very voluminous. You can fit tripods, cameras, everything in those, so they would be really, really good. Let's test cruise, because cruise is quite simple on this bike. So basically, I'm in 4th, seems to be the gear that you can do everything in. Just press the cruise, turn it on. Is it going to go on now? There you go. And then look, hand off, and it's just going to keep me at 40 miles an hour all day long. Now it's actually quite simple. There's no start, reset, resume, cancel. You just basically turn it on, it stays on until you either press the brake or the accelerator, like I just did, and then it will flick off. So quite like that, quite a simple cruise control, very unobtrusive. You wouldn't want extra gubbins on the handlebar controls here. You know, you just have that little button, you press it in, and off you go. Now, it's very comfortable. It's very similar riding position to the BSA, in my opinion. I think if you're a taller rider, you could probably slide back on the seat, and if you're a shorter armed person like me, you could sort of come forward so you're closer to the bars, which I actually quite like. You've got the little insert there. I'm jumping all over the place here, but I'm aware of the fact that you've only got a limited time out on the bike. You've got a gear indicator, odometer, trip 1, trip 2, fuel gauge, which is kind of useful, although the fuel gauge seems to have increased since I've been riding this bike. It started off on 110, it's now 114. You think it'd go down, but It's a little bit weird. I know TMF noticed that the fuel gauge on these is just a bit funny. It takes a while to reset after you filled it up as well. You got a range as well as the actual indicator bars for the fuel, remaining fuel. So overall, it's a lovely, lovely bike, especially in this colour and low mileage condition and spec. I think you could potentially tour on this bike, given you have got the heated grips and the cruise and lots of power. So what's he doing up here? Just go around her. The power definitely means that you wouldn't have to worry about taking a pillion or taking your camping equipment, or if you want to take the kitchen sink, this bike will carry you, because a 1200cc engine is way more than you need. For me, I just instantly saw this bike and I thought, wow, this is one of those opportunities that doesn't come along very often. A proper spec, proper low mileage, good condition, second-hand Triumph T120. I thought, if you don't go for this now, this will be one of those bikes you regret. You'll regret it. I was really saw this bike and instantly fell in love. But having said that, when I ride this bike, I feel like it's not worth 4 times as much as the BSA. Because say this is worth 9 grand, they got it up for. The BSA is probably going to be valued at 2 or something like that. I don't think the BSA is that much worse for what I do than this bike. So that's kind of my conclusion from riding it. And like, fair play to Motorcycles for All, they got lovely stock, lovely bikes at the moment. Really great place to buy second-hand bikes. It's all ex-main dealer, low mileage, really like fancy high-end stock. It's all lovely. It's stuff that the main dealer is not contractually allowed to retail. You know, maybe it might be over 2 years old or over 2,000 miles. So BMW, for example, doesn't want that kind of stuff. I mean that kind of stuff. That's ridiculous, isn't it? But that kind of riff-raff littering their showroom floor. So they make sure the dealers don't stock those kind of bikes. So it means if you go into a place like Motorcycles for All, you can get 1250 GS's, low mileage, mint, all the options you want. It's such a little thing that I've learned about that dealership and how they acquire the second-hand stock they've got. But yeah, this bike is probably one of those. It's been traded in to Triumph, but because it's over 18 months old, or 2 years, whatever the rule is, they've given it back. Oh sorry, what have they done? What's the word? Underwritten it. Sent it to a dealer of second-hand bikes. So it's crazy, really. I guess, yeah, that's my takeaway from it. I saw this bike, I just desperately wanted it, but having ridden it, I don't think it does enough to justify the price over what the experience I get from the BSA. And that's amazing to say, really. And don't get me wrong, I know people think that it's a BSA fan channel. It's really not. BSA have screwed up in many different ways over the years, and I'm not hiding that. I'm the one who's kind of mentioned it more often than not. How they do their distribution and dealings with dealers and warranty work and things going wrong. But the annoying thing about BSA is, or great if you own one, is that the bikes, the product is just quality. Like okay, not, maybe quality is the wrong word. It's charming, it's authentic, it's just a characterful, basically like a faithful friend. It's not just a bike. So I can't say quality because things go wrong with them, like the headlight smashing and the ECU and that kind of thing. But the BSA I just couldn't get rid of. I'd miss it too much. So that's the turn up for the books. That's the take home from this video. I've had an amazing time on the T120 and I genuinely thought I would buy it. But having ridden it, one, it's strong money for me. Yeah, I'd have had to ridden it and been absolutely in love at first sight to pay 9 grand for a bike. But also, it's the timing's all over the place to get a new bike. I don't have good storage. We're moving house and everything. It's just a disaster. But also, we got to consider that the BSA has basically got a bit of a hold on me. It's the bike that I already own that I really like. So yeah, that's it. That's my thought on the T120. I may own a T120 or a T100 one day, but it's not this day. Alright guys, let me know if you've got any questions in the comments. I appreciate all the people who tuned into this video, and I appreciate the comments and likes and questions and all that business. Yeah, this might be a weird thing to say, but that's my honest thoughts on it. This bike beats the BSA in every respect, but there's something unquantifiable about a 650 single with BSA badge on the tank. Maybe I'm just got rose tinted goggles for nostalgia, but that's where we are. I'm sorry to say. and with the Triumph as well, people do say a little bit that the engine, while powerful, can be a little bit bland if you do big miles on it. Like, okay, it could just sweep you down the road and wafting you down there on torque. But is it sort of like, what's the character? Well, I mean, wow. Obviously it's got that savage pull. And the other thing is the jerk on and off the throttle. That's not negligible. Someone tell me how to say that in the comments. That's not nothing. So when you see, if I'm on and off the throttle, even at sort of like 30-mile-an-hour speeds, it's definitely, there's a noticeable jerk on and off. And I know two-wheeled Willie and Tame had that experience when they owned this model. So yeah, you've got to be a little bit careful meeting your heroes. It's almost perfect bike, or right bike should we say, wrong time for me. But like everything, it does have a couple of things about it that perhaps are worth mentioning in the negatives column. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. We're heading now into Malvern, and I am going to end the video there. So thank you very much guys for listening.